This is my life book, and welcome to it. Motivations leading you to the need to make an impact and the need to care for others. To start with number 1, the need to make an impact with the advantage. The advantage is a positive influence to the client, and when successful, you feel a great feeling inside of you. Next is for disadvantage. Disadvantage is when you're not so successful and you feel frustrated and negative with the outcome results. Next is it helps because when making an impact on a child and youth, they will remember when it's positive. Lastly is mediate. For me, what mediate means is burnout equals self-care. With this, I mean always take care of yourself because it's super duper important. Next is the need to care for others. For the advantage, a motivator is common in this role due to always trying to make others happy, along with the role of always being able to help. For disadvantage, it could be dangerous when kids are watching you because they might end up burning. Or it helps because children and youth understand the feeling of care once you show them what care is like for them. And lastly, for mediate, it is burnout equals self-care, and this is super important because when looking after others, we sometimes forget about ourselves. Next, we are going to jump into the theories I picked for my life book. For my first theory, I picked the circle of courage. Next is the Gestalt therapy theory. The third theory I picked is free association therapy theory. Next, we have CBT therapy theory, and then we have play therapy theory. The first theory is play theory for greater society. So I decided to touch on acting. Acting has been a really big part of my life for very, very long. It's what made me become less shy and come out of my shell. With acting and play therapy, using the play to express communication. So maybe you're closed off and you don't like speaking, but through acting you're able to feel and push all your emotions out because on stage you know nobody's going to judge you because you're a character and that's who you are. At least that's how it was for me. It also relates back to the circle of courage and where you're belonging because I knew I belonged there once I was on stage. Because when I can relate to kids about playing and acting and how this works for me. This also fits in with the Greater Society because it was a non-profit organization that I volunteered for and helped raise money for kids and went into different schools and provided outreach art teams for them. Next is play therapy with my residence life staff team. For the Greater Society, as a Residence Life staff member, we try to make the community at Fleming College Residence a great place. Also, we have fun all the time. We're always doing cool activities with the residents, and it's very stressful and stuff like that because we're in school, we're trying to save money and everything like that. So we use play therapy to express communication by letting the residents talk when they want to talk, make sure we're taking stress off, and we're just helping them to make their college experience better. Next is CBT therapy with culture and family. So I'm going to be talking about French and how it's on my dad's side. So CBT is really about changing unhealthy behaviors and how to change that. So something, for example, there's a big stereotype that people don't like French people. So with using CBT, I'm able to apply different skills that I'm able to talk to people and be like, hey, have you thought about it this way? Or look at it this way, and different things like that to implement so people are able to understand how my family works and how my culture works. So next I will be talking about free association therapy, and I'll be touching on the family portion. And I'll be talking about mostly like my dad in this part. So for free association therapy, it's discovering feelings and thoughts that you might have been ignored in the past. So for example, when I was just 8 years old, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and he was told that he wouldn't live, he'd have cancer forever, and just little things like that. And because of that, I've always felt like I've needed to try and hide things and keep it to myself because I'm scared to open up because I don't want to be able to lose that person or that family that I am with. So when working with children and youth, I'd be able to kind of relate to them and be like, hey, like, I understand what it's like to keep your feelings bottled up and do things like this because I have experienced it before and I've done things like this before. So next is the Gestalt therapy theory, and I'll be touching on my friends. I'll be talking about my eating disorder here. So when I was 16, I was diagnosed with bulimia. So basically, friends were a big support for me. They really helped me through this tough time. So this theory is really about relational piece. So with this, that my friends were able to help me with, because I was able to have those people when I was struggling through this rough time. And with this, I'm able to take it as a CYC in the future in the field, because I'm able to relate back with kids, and maybe if they're going through a hard time, not knowing who they are in the moment, they're dealing with the mental exceptionality, just different things like that, I'm able to help them relate and be like, hey, like, look, you're here right now, it's gonna get better, trust me, don't worry. And also with that relational piece, they're gonna be able to trust me because they know who I am and they know what I'm capable of, just how I know the same things. The last theory I'm going to be talking about is the circle of courage. And with the circle of courage, I like to believe that everything I just talked about is included, like absolutely everything, because I believe my friends, my family, my culture, and my greater society all includes back into the 4 components of the circle of courage: belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity, because the circle of courage is who you are and how you became that. And I'm belonging with all these different peoples, and without different things like my eating disorder and my dad getting sick and my French culture, then I wouldn't know where I belong today. I wouldn't know my independence and how to do certain things. Even my generosity, I wouldn't even know like how to help people if I haven't been through experiences that I have been through today. Like even including just working on the RLS team, like I have learned so much from that, and just everything that makes me me. And the circle of courage just shows us basically how and who we've become and how far we've become, and our different strengths that everyone has, and how it makes us who we are as CYC practitioners. And because of that, we're able to bring so many strengths, each and every one of us, no matter who we are, to the table when working with children and youth, because we're able to help them so many different ways, because there's so many different people of us. And helping them, they're just going to be so amazed how much we can help them, because I have different talents than you and you have different talents than me, and we're able to bring that to the table together and work together to show the kids and the children and the youth that we're there for them. Next, I'll be talking about 2 developmental goals for myself. So this goal for myself is to continue education after here. So after being graduated from the CYC program at Fleming College, I would like to continue my education to 1 or 2 things. First, one goal I would like to expand on for my education would be working with kids with eating disorders, because that's probably like my dream job. So I would want to go to school more about learning about eating disorders and just different mental health exceptionalities to have that better understanding. Also, I would like to maybe go to children's media. It's basically just learning how to do kid shows, and I feel like with that CYC knowledge background, I would be a great fit for that field. So for my second developmental goal, I would love to stop procrastinating. This is a big thing I do. I do it all the time, do for every class. I do it for everything. I want to start getting on top of things and start doing things beforehand so I'm not stuck doing it the last minute. Also, when I start working with children, they might see this as a bad example and they might start doing it more, and I would hate to basically be the reason why people start procrastinating because they see I try things this way and it works for me, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for them that way, even though it might work for me.